Hello, my friends. Hello, my friends. It is a Saturday afternoon. Oh, maybe when you're watching this, you could be watching it much later on. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. But we are taping this right now, Saturday afternoon at 12 noon Eastern. Of course, if you're in Ireland, that is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And we have a wonderful team of people here today. We got Mr. Lauren Murphy.
Hello.
And we got the wonderful Tara from Spin in Prague.
Hello.
She's dressed in full Aladdin Sane makeup, although she's got clothes on. And today we are talking about our top 10 David Bowie tracks. Bowie doesn't really get enough recognition sort of in the prog community here on YouTube. And so I'm trying to do something to put him back out there. Obviously, he's a kind of a known pop star and stuff, but every album cycle, he was pushing on doing, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And the Ziggy Stardust character was around for longer than he intended it for. And he just totally reinvented himself when it came to the Thin White Duke era and Station to Station and all those records. And so he's like, the glam period, as great as it is, I want to do the next thing. He goes prog for a while, then he goes like ambient, and the 80s came, and well, it's the 80s. I don't have to say too much about that. But we're going to do top 10 songs of David Bowie each. Of course, you can include Tin Machine if you want. It is totally up to you. But Lauren is going to start us off with his top 10 Bowie songs and possible honorable mentions. What do you got, Lauren?
Well, I don't have any Tin Machine in my list. I'll just tell you right now.
Neither do I. I just wanted to put that out there.
I remember it. I remember it very well. My 10th, because I'm going to go backwards. All I did was grab a stack of CDs, and I'm sure I'm not going to have all the right ones I need, and I don't. I wanted to include one from the late 90s because that was a weird period for him and for a lot of other artists. But naturally, being Bowie, he did some great stuff. He did an album called Hours in 1999, and the song "The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell" it's a great track. I played that on my show about 5 or 6 weeks ago.
All right.
It's got a definite late 90s vibe. Heavy drums, heavy guitars, but you still know who it is. As soon as it comes on somehow, even before he sung a note, it's like, this is Bowie.
Yeah, I love
that's, it. That's a sign of a great artist. And we already know Bowie's a great artist, but
absolutely.
And I like that title, "The Pretty Things Are Going to Hell." It sounds like an old 60s schlock B movie, horror movie.
Yeah.
I always wonder if he took the title from his other song, "Oh You Pretty Things."
Probably. It's probably a reworked version of that.
Hunky Dory. Was it Hunky Dory?
Yeah.
I think it was on Hunky Dory, yeah.
Track 2.
Oh, there you go, track 2. And exactly how long was it, Cody?
About 4.5 minutes.
Okay. Wrong. It was 4:40. I don't really know that. Number 9. Where are we here? Well, I don't really need to hold this up because Tara's kind of got this covered.
Yeah.
From Aladdin Sane, "Cracked Actor," which is such a great track. Sludgy, dirty guitar riff and bass line that's kind of doubling it. Good groove. Just kind of pops along. It's got a bit of I don't know what you might call swing to it. Bowie used to sing that one on stage with the Hamlet skull, the skull from Hamlet, and then he would make out with the skull.
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. Who hasn't made out with a skull now and then? Number 8, "Ashes to Ashes" from Scary Monsters, which I love this album, Scary Monsters. I think it's such a great album.
Hey, we got Scott from Mythologic watching us in the audience here. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Scott.
It's a classic sounding track. Again, right away who it is. Obviously, it's kind of a sequel, sort of, to Major Tom, or to Space Oddity, I should say. But that's a great track from a great album. Sounds amazing on the stereo too. I don't know if this is remastered. Yeah, these are remasters, but
that looks like
great.
the Ryko one. That looks like the Ryko disc edition.
Yeah, the Ryko ones. Yeah, that's right. Got
Yeah.
the same kind of print as the Zappa ones. What's next? Suffragette City, baby.
Woo! Wham bam! Thank you, Lord.
City. Ultimate glam rock song for me. You know, you got Mick Ronson there doing that killer guitar riff. They just sort of slides into, again, kind of grungy. You know, it's got the line "Wham bam, thank you, ma'am," which a lot of people think means one thing. We all know what people think it means and what Bowie probably meant, but he took that from an old, not early 60s jazz record by Charlie Mingus. Charlie Mingus had an album called "Oh Yeah" in like 1960 or something, and he had a song or a piece of music on there called "Wham Bam Thank You Man" that his drummer used to say all the time. So that comes from a drummer.
There you go.
And Suffragette City was one that he offered to Mott the Hoople, and they declined it, and then they chose All the Young Dudes instead, which I always thought sounded just like Bowie anyway.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, he wrote it, right? So
yeah, and he did it too, but Mott the Hoople made it sort of theirs. But I'm glad that he kept Suffragette City because that's, you know, obviously one of his best, I think.
Yeah. More on that one later.
Okay. Slip Away, a ballad from the Heathen album in 2002, 2003-ish. I remember that album coming out, had Jordan Rudess on it.
It does. That's right.
Yeah, playing keys on it, grand piano and some other keys. Originally that song, do you know the album Toy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one with the freaky alien baby of him on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
He had a piece on there called Uncle Floyd, and that's kind of what this song became, or that song became this song.
Oh, right on.
Very haunting and ethereal. It's one of his best ballads, really. It's a great album. It's very different sounding to Hours, which was only 3 years before it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you were saying, you know, he really changed it up.
For sure. Oh, every album.
Yeah, he was good like that, and you never really knew what to expect from him next. Sometimes it didn't work, but usually it did. And Heathen is a good one.
If it didn't work, he would just come back with something else on the next record, and then it would be, you know.
And that would work. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to follow. I wish I was old enough to have followed him in the early 70s, but I was playing in my crib in the early 70s. And in the early 2000s, oddly enough, but that's a different story. Lazarus is a song originally from the off-Broadway production. I don't know if you guys know about that, Lazarus, that they were working on. It's about the character from the Man Who Fell to Earth, if you know that movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but I know it. Like I know.
It's not a favorite of mine, but you know, it's half the fan base loves it, half don't. But I love the music from around that time. But Lazarus is from obviously his final album, Black Star.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's quite poignant, really, because Bowie died 2 days later. You know, I don't know if you guys remember that. Like the album came out, and it was like,
well, it was David
Bowie.
Yeah.
A new Bowie album, amazing, and it's awesome. And then, you know, you wake up a morning or two later, and it's like David Bowie died. You're like, what? Brutal.
Yeah. But yeah, his birthday, not to jump in, but his birthday was the same day as my mom's.
Yeah.
That's when he put out the album, was on her birthday, and then 2 days after, we were like, whoa, what the hell? Like, geez, put a new record.
And it was such a great album to go out on, too. I love Black Star. I think it's fantastic, especially Lazarus. Speaking of the Man Who Fell to Earth period, Bowie's cocaine period, Thin White Duke. It's a good way to get thin.
Thin white dude, literally.
Sorry. Station to Station. Great album.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And one of his best songs on there, Stay. I love the song Stay. Bowie doesn't remember recording it. It's kind of like Alice Cooper with those albums he did in the early 80s. You know, he made 3 albums in a row he doesn't remember, which is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I like those albums too, actually, those Alice albums. But
Special Forces, yeah, all the way.
Yeah, Special Forces, Zipper Catches Skin, and
Dada.
And Dada, which is great. But he had a lot of help, obviously, from Bob Ezrin.
Of course.
But, I play a lot of Bowie on my show, actually. I played Stay a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I love that tune.
Yeah, it's a great tune. That album led into what became the Berlin trilogy, too, I think was the next ones to come after Station to Station. Low and Lodger and all that. There you go. Great album, great title track. Big, long opening title track to that one.
Oh, I know. I love it.
Yeah. You what? No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. I love it.
I know.
I love it. Sarah's sick of me.
What, are you doing Irish accent?
He's taking me off. Yeah, he takes me off all the time.
Does he?
I do it horribly, but yeah.
You got to learn his accent, Tara. It's kind of like that hick Southern Ontario accent where you live in the country. It's a little different. It's different from like a more refined guy like me who lives in the city, who speaks very, very properly. Cody's more from like, I don't know.
You should see where I'm from, Lauren.
Yeah.
Where Cody's from is like paradise compared to where I'm from. So
oh, wow.
I can't really say anything when he takes me off. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Well, don't worry. Lauren has a piece of paradise too. He's only about half an hour away. Burlington is not that bad.
Oh yeah, Burlington's nice.
It is.
Where are we? Starman.
Oh yes.
I mean, what can I say? You know, I love Ziggy Stardust from beginning to end. Is a classic killer album. I love Starman. It's the verse is an absolute 10 out of 10. The chorus is a 10 out of 10. That's a perfect song.
It is. Agree.
The chorus is reminiscent, if you listen to it, to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. If you've ever noticed that similarity there.
Right on.
Not that would be intentional, of course, but it's kind of like when Tony Banks wrote Afterglow, and it sounded like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
I want to take a quick second to say hi to Mr. Joe out here in the comments. What's up, Joe? Thank you so much for coming by.
He's got Ashes to Ashes on his list. Good man.
Yeah, man.
We are. Oh, I've only got 2 left. Modern Love. For me, like, I have very fond memories of that coming out. Let's Dance. Yeah, Modern Love. China Girl, the one he originally did with Iggy Pop, I think, or Iggy Pop did that song. He did his own version of China Girl. They did the song Let's Dance. You know, that album had Stevie Ray Vaughan on guitar. A lot of people don't realize that.
I knew that.
Yeah. Well, you would know that, I know. But
I think this trio of people probably knew that.
We know that.
Yes.
But we are the upper echelon of music fan.
Oh, we kind of are.
But Modern Love. Okay, so Modern Love, I always think of as one of 2 songs that I can't imagine anyone not liking, and the other one would be Salisbury Hill. I always think Modern Love and Salisbury Hill. It's impossible not to like those songs.
Yeah,
Modern Love's got that great sort of soul and R&B influence, a real R&B. I mean, not what they call R&B nowadays. Yeah, I just have such fond memories. I was 10 years old when that album came out, and I loved it. I watched the videos all the time. Was this Matt coming on?
Yeah, we got Matt Brown.
Hey, there he is.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Sorry I'm late. I don't mean to interrupt. I can hang out for a little bit, but I wanted to pop in for a minute.
Good.
Lauren, don't let me stop you, brother. Keep going.
Oh, no worries. Have you been listening, or do I have to say it all again?
No, I've been listening.
Okay, number 10.
I got to hear bits and pieces. So
Here we go from the beginning, from the top.
Yeah.
No, where am I? Oh, Modern Love, yeah. Matt, I'm sure you remember very well when Let's Dance came out.
Oh yeah.
What great fun those videos were for Modern Love and China Girl, and there was. I remember. Do you remember, Matt, when the Pepsi commercial in the late '80s when Bowie re-recorded Modern Love and he did it with Tina Turner?
I have a vague memory of that.
Yeah, they showed it up here all the time. He redid it, and it sounded kind of different. And of course, she was singing on it too. And it had like, there was this big. They were dancing around in the commercial, Pepsi, and they had all those sparks falling from the ceiling. Pepsi had this weird thing with sparks falling from the ceiling. They did it with Michael Jackson. It lit his hair on fire. He had second-degree burns.
That was tough. I remember that one. Oh my
Yeah.
Right on.
Anyway, that's my number 2. So we'll finish with my number 1. Again, a perfect song. Not only my favorite Bowie song, one of my favorite songs by anybody is "Life on Mars."
Good man.
And
Good man.
I think that chord change that leads into the chorus is so unexpected and so unusual. I still don't expect it, and I've heard the song 1,000 times. That's Wakeman, of course, on there.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
I think
Happy birthday, Rick Wakeman.
Is it his birthday today?
Yeah.
It's also Bill Bruford's birthday.
No, that was yesterday.
Was it yesterday? Oh, well, close enough.
And it's my birthday in December. Awesome string parts on that song too, of course.
Yeah.
And I think it's his best song ever, and I don't even really know what it's about. I've never really studied the lyrics well enough to care. I just love them. I don't know if you've ever heard Barbra Streisand do her questionable cover of that song, but avoid it if you can.
Oh my.
Will do.
Yeah,
we can stay away from that.
Bowie hated it.
Max.
Anyway, so that's my 10.
Hey,
Some honorable mentions, not much. Fashion from Scary Monsters. Again, I love that album. Fashion sounds great. Space Oddity, of course. Ziggy Stardust itself is a great song. Yeah, there you go. I didn't even hold up my CDs, but I have the CDs here. Trust me.
Oh, we believe you. We guessed that you probably owned them. I mean,
I do. I wouldn't be without them. There you go.
Great list, Lauren. Matt, do you have a list that you want to follow up? Because I know you have to go. I think you're kind of on the go, right?
It's such a crazy story, but that's the tornado that is my life at the moment.
Well, hold on. I'm going to put you. So Tara, you'll go after Matt then, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Are you sure, Tara? Is that cool? I'm only going to do like I'm probably only going to do about 5.
Okay.
I'll do my 5 favorites. Yeah, and later on I'll tell you guys offline about how crazy this weekend is. But that's the way. I'm not going to complain. I'm really grateful.
Like rock and roll lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been working my whole life for this, so there you go. Anyway,
that's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
It totally is. So before we go any further, hi Tara, hi Lauren, hi Cody, hi everyone.
Hi Matt.
Welcome in. Thank you for having me at this late juncture. I'm gonna buck trend and go in reverse order, and really reverse order doesn't matter because I have so many favorite Bowie songs, and I could probably do a different top 10 list every day. Because just like you said with honorable mentions, I'd have a huge list of them too. But mine, right? I'm going to do 1 through 5, and then if I think of a couple honorable mentions, they can be 6 and 7. Okay. Right now, at this very moment where we sit, my number 1 Bowie song is a thing called "Stay" from Station to Station.
Right on.
That song is I love the groove. It's such kind of a sensual kind of song in a way. There's some great live versions of it. And I mean, the studio cut is awesome, but the version that's on stage is great. And there's one from Nassau Coliseum that had been a bonus track on Station to Station, and then they released the whole Nassau concert.
Yeah.
And
Which is awesome.
that thing smokes. It's so freaking good.
It is.
So that's my number one. Number two is a weird choice. Maybe it's not so weird. Under Pressure, even though it's technically a Bowie Queen song,
Yeah.
Bowie has enough of a presence on it that I'm going to count it. And it's been one of my all-time favorite songs for probably 30 years, if not longer.
Yeah.
And it would be one of those that I'd put on either a Queen or a Bowie list. It's just the lyrics are amazing, and I tend to go for songs that really speak to me lyrically on one level or another, and that one definitely does, especially the ending.
For sure.
It's just
why can't we give ourselves one more chance? Why can't we give love? Yeah.
Yeah, the whole people on the edge of the night. I don't know. There's something about it just gets under my skin, man. So
sure,
that's way up there. Number 3 is Width of a Circle from Man Who Sold the World.
Oh, nice one.
That's I didn't know that Bowie had that kind of hard. I mean, I know obviously with Ziggy and some of the glammier, rockier things that he did in the 70s, but I didn't hear that record until much, much later, and it blew me away. I mean, there's so much good stuff on that album other than the title track. Thank you. Yeah, that one. And it's an epic song for Bowie. I mean, and the fact that it rocks so hard and changes into a couple different moods and things, I adore it. And you got Mick Ronson, of course. So.
Oh yeah, that never hurts.
Number 4 is also, maybe you could consider it his other epic song, Station to Station, title cut from that album.
Oh yeah.
First time, the one and only time I got to see Bowie, if you could call it that, was at Dodger Stadium on the Sound and Vision tour. And I heard him. I can't really say I saw him, because I was looking at screens and everybody were ants on stage and we were way far away.
Right.
But it was a great show. And the first time I heard Station to Station was at that show.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, damn, what's this?
That's awesome.
That was super impressive.
What year was that?
That would have been 1990, I think. And if my memory serves me right, he had Adrian Belew on that tour.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Because they did one of his songs in the middle of the show.
That's a win-win.
Yeah. And I wasn't even hip to Crimson yet, or his era of Crimson. I didn't know how much of a win-win it was at the time,
Pretty cool. It's so great how we come in at different entry points, but we all get there eventually, right? That's killer.
Yeah. I mean, my first exposure to Bowie was seeing the video for DJ, probably when I was about 9 or 10 years old, on Fridays or the Midnight Special or some late night television show. Yeah, from Lodge. Yeah. And then I heard, the songs after that, and of course, I was a young teen when Let's Dance came out, and eventually got into the early songs. So
Dangerous.
That's 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 5 is kind of a more recent discovery for me. I discovered it thanks to, even though I'd kind of heard it before, I discovered it because of the way they used it in the Moon Age Daydream movie. And that's a song called Subterraneans.
Okay.
I believe that's
from that one.
From Low, right?
That's from Low.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly instrumental.
Yeah.
It's got some great, Bowie's playing saxophone on it, and it's got some really kind of hypnotic vocals later on. But the way they use it in the movie was so... By the way, if you haven't seen Moon Age Daydream... Oh,
it's awesome.
Go watch it. It's unbelievable. It's kind of like a 2-hour hallucinogenic trip through his life, and it's so beautiful.
That's the biopic, right?
Yeah, the biopic came out like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, I've been out.
That's great.
So those are my 5. I'll do 2 quick honorable mentions. Another more recent discovery, Heathen, the Rays from the Heathen album, especially the version on the Reality Tour live record.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a sucker for anything that's got a really dreamy, hypnotic thing, and that's got it in spades. It's a very cool song.
Mm.
And that Reality Tour album is damn good from that tour.
I need to get that.
Yeah, he's got so many live records. I only have a handful of them. There's no way I could get all of them. That's the one. Yep.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, this thing is flawless.
I gotta check that out.
So freaking good. Yeah, I bought it on a whim a few years ago, and I just was like, wow, this is great. Why didn't I see Bowie during this period? It made me really regret not going to see him when I probably could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is really good.
And then my final pick is gonna be, oh God.
All the way.
All the way. Actually, no, that's it.
That's it?
I'm going to be here like deliberating for another 10 minutes if I try to pick another one. So let's just go with that.
Okay.
Good
All
pick.
right. Well, that was a solid top 5, my man.
Thank you, dude.
Well, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. And
I'll
I
hang
didn't know if you'd...
I'll hang out for a little bit more. I don't have to hit the road quite yet, but I'm getting close. I'm like kind of at a midpoint where I can stop. So.
Okay. Well, awesome. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I was like, I saw you liked it, and I was like, you know what, let's toss him the link. I don't know if he's available, but if he wants to come and join, he totally can, because Matt is welcome here anytime. Yeah. Matt and Lauren have amazing music taste, and so does the wonderful Tara O'Reilly from Spin in Prague. Now, judging by the fact that she came fully prepared with makeup and everything, we know that Tara is indeed bringing it.
Yes. I have a big story now to tell about my life and how David Bowie came to be with me. So I'll start off from when I was a little kid. Of course, Bowie was present in my life from a very young age because of my dad, and he showed me Space Oddity when I was very, very young because he's obsessed with science fiction. He loves Stanley Kubrick, 2001: A Space Odyssey. And he wanted to show me this song because he thought it was really kind of a pivotal thing to hear.
It is.
So, like, this is really important. You have to hear it. And, you know, being a little kid, it didn't have that much of an effect on me, like, which was probably disappointing for him. But I thought it was good. And, you know, I kind of dipped in and out of Bowie for a few years after, and I'd hear his hits on the television, like Let's Dance and Fashion and all that. But it was when I was a teenager that I really, really dove into Bowie, because growing up in Ireland is very difficult. If you're any way different, you are just a target. Because, like I said, the Catholic Church have a lot of power here. And if you step out of line one bit, you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And of course, me being the biggest black sheep going around, like, I suffered an awful lot, like, because of it. And I went through a period in my life where I didn't really have anyone around me. So I was looking for people to look up to. And I had to turn to music and to television and media to kind of find a role model. And I remember I was sitting in my sitting room by myself, and there was a rerun of Top of the Pops on. And out comes David Bowie. He was doing Ziggy Stardust. And it was, you know, it pops up with little facts about what he was doing at the time and how he'd come out and he was this androgynous role model. And I was just blown away. And I was like, God, I wish I had the confidence that this man has. And that's where it all started. So I really, really got into him. And in my later years, I started up a performing arts show because I'm an aerial dancer. And where I live, there's nothing to do. Like, you can't say, oh, will we go out tonight and see a band playing or whatever. There's nothing. You can go out and you can get drunk and you can stagger home. That's about it. There's no entertainment. There's the arts here is very like a clique. And if you're not in that clique, you can forget about it. If you want to start up a band here that isn't Irish trad music or country, you can forget about it. So I, completely out of pocket, went and started up this performing arts show. And I started to look into London and how they did it over in London. And I came across the Blitz Club, which was started up in the 80s by the New Wave generation. And this is where Steve Strange of Visage came from. He started up the Blitz Club. And I was like, God, that guy looks so familiar. And he was one of the people in the Ashes to Ashes music video. So I'm looking into it, and they were all like in awe of David Bowie. And he turned up at the Blitz Club one day and picked out a load of them and said, you guys are going to be in my music video. And I was thinking, my God, I would love to be able to create opportunity for people like that. So I went and did it. But anyway, I'm getting a bit too sappy here, so I'm just going to get into my list. Number 10.
I was enjoying that story.
That's very cool.
He really, really brought something new to my life, and I would be absolutely lost without that man. I think he was just such an influential figure in history, and he needs to be recognized an awful lot more for what he did. Like, I know he was a bit dodgy at times, and he was always kind of in the right place at the right time, and some stuff he just got lucky with. But he was a really great person, and despite all that stuff people give out about him for, you can't deny the influence he's had.
Of course. He was a tremendous musician. I mean,
he is, yeah.
People don't really recognize how well thought out as a musician and composer of music that he actually was.
Mm-hmm.
People usually associate him with who was in the band at the time, but he was pretty upfront and sort of telling people, okay, do your thing, but I want it to be kind of like this. And amazing. Sorry, not to jump in on you. Continue, Tara.
No, you're fine. So my number 10 is Rebel Rebel. Because again, like I said, I was a teenager. I was, being put into this box and being told, stop behaving like this. You have to be a good girl. And I heard this song and I was just like, fuck you all. Sorry for
that didn't work out too well.
Number 9 is Man Who Sold the World, which obviously came to popularity with my generation when Kurt Cobain came out and did it on their MTV Unplugged session. But when I went back and heard Bowie's version, I much preferred it. I thought it was way better, to be honest.
It is.
Yeah.
No, Nirvana was just covering a song that they liked, right? But people tend to start to put like a sort of, I don't know.
This worship for Kurt Cobain is, I don't get it, to be honest. Like, this whole putting him on a pedestal and saying that everything he did was fantastic and he covered this person's song and immediately his version is better. And no. Number 8 is Black Star, because when I saw the video for that after he passed away, I was just blown away that he had all this planned to come out after his death. And I just, oh my God, like, imagine being that artistically clever to curate something like that to be released after you pass away. I couldn't get over it. I thought it was incredible. Number 7 is Suffragette City, because it's a total banger. Like, you just love that tune. Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Number 6 is Drive-In Saturday, which I think is a really nice little sweet tune.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that whole album.
Cody, do you remember which song was it? Was in one of the Grand Theft Auto games? I think it was Somebody Up There Likes Me or something.
I'm not sure, but I do remember that in the movie School of Rock, when they pull up to the gig at the end of the movie, if you're listening really close, they have Moon Age Daydream playing in that scene when they pull up. But I don't remember what was in Grand Theft Auto. No,
Yeah,
I remember Yes is in Grand Theft Auto 5.
No, I've been playing that game since I was a child. That probably explains what's wrong with me. But anyway, Golden Years was in The Simpsons as well, I remember. So that put a few people my age onto it as well. But what am I on? Number 5 is Life on Mars, because when I was a kid, I had a really weird aunt that was like, you'd imagine she's the person that Frank Zappa wrote Camarillo Brillo about. She was one of those people, like hippie, over hippie, instinct burning all the time, and oh yeah, everything is great, and oh my god, like unbearable. But she used to always talk about Labyrinth, and she is who showed me the movie. And of course, you know, being a little kid, I didn't notice his bulge in my face the whole time. But I see that now, which is fabulous. But
We know what you notice now, Tara. I'm
my gosh.
I'm just playing. You're the one that mentioned it. I had to run with the joke.
But Magic Dance and As the World Falls Down are just brilliant songs. And I think he should have done more kind of movies and soundtracks like that. You know, I know he was in Twin Peaks and he was in a few other things, but just the character he played and the soundtrack he did for that film are fantastic. And my number 5, Life on Mars, yes. So after I saw Labyrinth, I heard Life on Mars, and you know, my imagination went mad, and I was imagining he was singing about the girl in the movie, and then my dad would be like, oh, he's singing about you, Tara, and I'd be getting all, oh my god. But the music video for it, I was so taken aback by the way that they did the colour in the actual video. I don't know how they did it. The exposure was turned way up or something, but the way his eyes were in the video was just crazy to me, and I thought it was fabulous. I still watch it now and I'm like, no one else has really done something like that with a music video. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And number 4 is Space Oddity. As I said, I was shown it as a kid, and as I got older I appreciated it more and more and more, and it's just, oh my god, the influence that had on the music I listen to now. You know, to think I heard that as a kid and I was like, oh, I don't know about this, you know, and now I'm like, Jesus, Tara, like, how did you not appreciate that? That is a huge song in music, for God's sake. But yeah, now I think it's fantastic. Number 3 is Moon Age Daydream, because yes, I first heard it in School of Rock when I was very young.
There you go.
I thought it was brilliant, and I just, it's a lovely song, and it kind of resonated with me because it was more of that, you know, don't be afraid to dream, like follow your dreams and do that, like.
Yeah,
number 2 is Lazarus. The lyrics in that are incredible, like, this way or no way, you know I'll be free, just like that bluebird. Oh my god, like, I thought it was beautiful. And you know, the video for that as well, where he's like lying in a bed sick.
Yeah, it's sad.
It was really sad, but again, I was just blown away that he had this curated and ready to go. Oh my god, he's just incredible. And my number 1 is Ashes to Ashes. I absolutely adore that song. I love the way it's a nod to Space Oddity, where he's saying, we know Major Tom's a junkie, and I know that was about him and his drug addiction, but you know, it's just, oh, it's such a good tune. The way that they got the piano to sound by feeding it through this remixer, and it's so distinct.
Yeah.
And it's unreal. And like I said, the music video with all the new wave kids from London is brilliant. And just the fact that this guy went out and he was just himself. He wanted to be this character and he just went out and did it. and there he is now for all of us to look up to. Is just incredible.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
What a great list.
Thanks.
What a great list. You know, when you put Life on Mars at number 5, and I was like, well, this top 4 better be solid. And it was amazing.
Well, you know, I don't look at Bowie as like what was musically really like mind blowing, or you know, what was he doing at the time. It's all about how it resonates with me. And how it came into my life and how it influenced me or what it did to me. Like, you know, he's one of those guys that he could probably fart into a microphone and I'd be like, oh, brilliant. So, I could list off a few honorable mentions, but I won't because I'll be going on all day. But that's my list.
If you have some honorables that you want to mention, go right ahead. If you got a few off the top of your head.
I've talked enough.
Okay. Well, Tara, that was an exceptional list. I don't know how I'm going to follow the 3 of you guys. There's a couple that I know are on my list that I'm surprised that no one has mentioned. But, you know, we got some heavyweights, you know, with you guys and the awesome lists that you guys have had. And there's something to be said about what you just said and about the fact that music is very personal. And so there's lots of people who pay attention, of course, to what the artist was doing at the time and where he was at and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, when you're taking in and appreciating art, especially for the first time, and just any time it comes to you in your life, it is the art. Sure, it was made by the artist, but it is meant for the listener and how it affects you in your own life. And so I really appreciated that you said that there, Tara. That was good. That was very good.
Hey, buddy, I gotta take off, you guys. I gotta get back on the road, otherwise I'll be late. But
okay, yeah, we don't want that, man.
No,
we don't want that.
Everybody have a great rest of your day. Thanks for letting me crash the party for a minute. And
no, you're welcome anytime, man. Have fun at your gigs.
I'm gonna go and go later on and watch what I missed because I want to see Cody's list. And I did miss 1 or 2 of Lauren's, so I want to go back and get those. So
yeah,
have a great one, you guys. Thanks.
All right, see you, Matt.
Safe travels, brother. He's awesome. Love him. And you guys too. You guys are pretty great as well. I'm going to start off with some honorable mentions just to get them out of the way. I'm going to go with I'm Afraid of Americans. Either the Trent Reznor mix that's on the Best of Bowie album or the one that's on Earthling. Both are great. Trent Reznor and David Bowie was exactly the duo that we needed that we didn't get enough of at the time. And Joe the Lion from Heroes. This is just honorable mentions. So yeah, I'm going weird here, guys. Sound and Vision and Changes. So I came into Bowie because when I was younger, you know, obviously my parents were into Zeppelin and Beatles and Queen and all that stuff. And so I did listen to my fair share of Q107 and, you know, Boom 97.3. That's all rock stations that are around here. Lauren would know them. But so every so often you hear something like Fame or Young Americans or things like that. And so I kind of knew a little bit about Bowie, but I didn't really become a big fan of him until later into my teens, similar to what Tara said. And so I remember 2014, a friend of mine got me the Best of Bowie CD as a gift. And so that was the first Bowie that I ever owned. And dug that. It was cool. Then he died in 2016. And that was when I really, really got heavy exposure to more Bowie than ever before. So I had already known some hits like Let's Dance and things like that. You know, liked some of the stuff, you know, Space Oddity. I always liked that song. But, you know, I was never really a big fan until about 2016, 2017, when I started being exposed to more of it. Because that wasn't something that was necessarily always played around my house, despite the fact that my parents liked him. But that's when I started getting into the albums like Ziggy Stardust and Hunky Dory. And then from there, I was going into Station to Station and Heroes and all these albums. And eventually, you know, 5 box sets later, right? I'm a huge Bowie fan, you know, 8, 9 years down the road now. And, you know, just getting into prog and Bowie at the same time, it was quite a time to be this guy. And so my number 10 is Modern Love from the Let's Dance record. I know he kind of referred to that as his Phil Collins years, but I like that album. I'm not big on the album that came out after it, but I do like the Let's Dance record. It is really well produced. It feels good to listen to. It's a really happening, well produced sort of art pop album from Bowie. And Modern Love, no matter where you are, I think that was in Shrek. I think that was in Shrek 2, I believe, if memory serves.
Yeah.
But yeah. And anytime that comes on, no matter where you are, it's always just, oh, I like the song, when I want to go out, when I want to stay in and gets things done, Number 9 is Suffragette City. Again, what Lauren already said about it, that riff, that slide up riff, down, 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 down. It's just awesome. That is one of the first Bowie songs I ever loved. It was in Rock Band. And just been a big fan of that song ever since I heard it in the game, pretty much. Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am, and all the false endings, where it kind of makes you think, oh, the song's going to end now. Oh, no, we're back. Okay, you're back in the room.
It's funny, Wham Bam, Thank You Ma'am, and false endings. That reminds me of a girl I knew in high school. Sorry, actually, never mind. Why did I bring that up? Sorry, Cody, go ahead.
Go on, man.
No, I don't think I should.
Tell us
I don't think I should. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay. Well, I had an ex-girlfriend. Her last name was Schramm, and so I would say Wham Bam, Thank You Schramm, just because it rhymed with the song. Anyway, I love that song. I love when it comes on. I'm driving down the road and I'm just singing along. I'll lean on me, man. Da, 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 da. It's just a fun song to listen to. It's fun to scream along to in the car. It's just it's kind of like anthemic at this point. Everybody knows it, especially if you're heavy into the classic rock. Everyone knows that song.
And IQ covered that song too. Have you ever heard that?
I haven't heard their cover of it. She probably has.
Yeah.
Big Andy Edwards fan down here. Awesome. And number 8, we're going weird. We're going to the opening track from Heroes. We've got Beauty and the Beast. I love side 1 of this album. It is so strange. The whole thing is so weird. That's probably because Robert Fripp's on it. But Beauty and the Beast, yeah. My, someone catch a priest. You can't say no to the Beauty and the Beast. Darling. It's Bowie just going all out in his weirdness, and I'm here for it. The next song that is slightly more refined, but still, from the same album, obviously, because number 7 is Heroes. It is it's one of those career-defining songs, and there's something about it that is just so beautiful and so haunting, but beautiful at the same time. I mean, Robert Fripp's droning guitar note that he plays throughout the entire song.
Jesus.
I know. You don't have to.
Could have done without that.
Yeah.
If you listen close, he's doing that throughout the whole track, and without that, it really takes out part of the feel of the song. You don't realize how monumental that weird little thing is to the mix until you take it out, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is different. But I love that song, and just the whole history behind everything about the song. I don't have to go too deep into it.
That song had a big resurgence right around the time you guys were born, because it was covered by a band called the Wallflowers, and I
thought it was because we were heroes.
It was a big hit on the radio again, and that's how a lot of people rediscovered Heroes. Actually,
Yeah.
To get here, because I don't know if the X Factor is a thing over there.
Yeah.
I think it was the 2000s or the 2010s. Do you know that when they get the whole cast to cover a song, and one year they got them to do Heroes, and it was literally played on the radio 24/7.
Oh Jesus!
It was a terrible cover, and it's an awful pity a lot of people heard it, because they were probably like, Jesus, that's awful. I'm never listening to David Bowie.
Yeah.
Well, that got made up for when Peter Gabriel covered it, and he does a pretty okay job
That
of it.
was
That's also
fabulous. Yeah.
that's also in Stranger Things, I think, at the end of season 2, if you remember.
Yeah.
Space Oddity on my list too. I first heard it when it was fresh, and it maintains its integrity after all these years. It totally does. We totally agree. And so number 7 is Heroes for me, and number 6 is Space Oddity. I love the song. It's so atmospheric. It is so experimental, but it's really done in an accessible way where you don't necessarily have to love prog or anything like that to understand the depth of this song. I mean, obviously, hey, it's not going to hit everyone the same way, right? But there's tons of people who are not into prog necessarily who do love this song.
That's true.
It's one of those songs where it is kind of it's taken on different meanings for a lot of different people, like Heroes, and it's just one of these songs that lives on throughout the generations. And I don't know if it really is prog. I'll call it art rock just for the sake of the stream here, but it's just one of those songs where even if it doesn't hit you at first, eventually it comes around and it stays in your psyche. So you're always going to remember ground control to Major Tom, you know. But the harmonies in the choruses, I mean, even if they're not considered choruses, they're probably more like the refrain of the song, the hooks, right? This is ground control to Major Tom.
I call it the chorus.
Yeah, I guess it would be considered a chorus. It doesn't repeat itself, but it's again, that's the nature of his writing, is the fact that it could be a chorus that everyone knows all the words to, but it doesn't repeat itself ever throughout the song. No choruses are the same in that song. And except for Planet Earth is Blue and There's Nothing I Can Do, that's the only part that's the same.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those songs that you never forget it. You know, it lives on. It lives on. And people who aren't even, people who are just the most casual music fans would appreciate this song.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who aren't like us, who are, got all the box sets and the CD walls and the makeup and, all this. It's just...
So people that aren't mentally deranged.
Yeah.
Yeah, for normal people. We call them normies, right? Like the people, yeah. Number 5 is a song that I think both of you guys had on your lists. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Starman.
Yep.
No,
Starman.
I didn't, because it was again played to death in an advertisement on television here.
Oh, that's too bad.
Really a great song. I'm just thinking.
Lauren had it. Lauren had it in his list, though.
I did, yeah.
And that song really picked up traction on the radios here around the time that he passed away. And so I was hearing it a lot, and obviously getting more into David Bowie on a deeper level than past the greatest hits on the radio and the albums and things like that, like the Best of Bowie CD. Hearing that song, it has become one of my favorite tunes, and I just love it so much. Been a fan of it for I don't know, since 2016, 17. So a good 8 years now, at least. That's 8 years is a long time in a 25-year lifespan.
That's true. The third of your life, basically.
That drum fill going into that's Woody Woodmansey. There's something about that fill going into it, just totally sets it up. And the beautiful vocal that he does throughout that song, and that epic chorus. That chorus is, I'm gonna say heavy, not in the sense like chugging guitars, thrash metal heavy. It is heavy like on an emotional level when you hear it and you're singing along to it, and it takes you to another universe. You know what I mean? It's one of those songs that just does that for you. And so Starman, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful song. I mean, there's no way around it. It's gorgeous. Number 4 is the song that I was listening to actually just before I came on the stream with you guys. Is Time Falls Wanking to the Floor. I love that song. That is, many times when I think of my favorite Bowie album, that is one of the ones that comes up. That's the one right behind Tara's head and On Her Face. That is one of the albums that immediately comes to mind as a favorite. I just think that album is a masterpiece. I think that whole thing is just perfect from top to bottom. So there's going to be another song from this a little bit later on down the list, but number 4 is Time, and just the changes, the chords that he chooses to do in this song is unbelievable, with the verses and the little pre-choruses, and the way it's sort of, it has this tenseness with the chord choices in the verses, and then it sort of lets up in the choruses with the da 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 da. There's something about just the way it builds sort of melodically in the verses and then releases with those melodic choruses, right? Something about it unbelievable. And Mick Ronson's guitar solo, woo! Amazing. As if I have to impersonate it in case someone has mysteriously not heard the song. They got to go.
Yeah, because they'll definitely know what it sounds like after you do it.
Yeah. It was like hearing it on the radio.
Yeah. It was just like hearing Bowie do it, right? Absolutely not. That's not what I was saying. But number 4 is Time, and I recommend, if anyone hasn't heard that song, definitely go check it out because it is amazing. Number 3 is Life on Mars.
Right.
That was almost number 1. But when you see my number 2 and number 1, you're going to see why it had to get put down to number 3. Ultimately, by the day, it could change anyway. So this is not really a definitive list. It's just, we love Bowie. We need to put him out there on the channel. And Life on Mars is a fantastic song. Amazing piano work from Rick Wakeman on that whole album. Hunky Dory is one of my favorites. That's one of the first Bowie albums that I ever got into, that I ever purchased with my own money. And just amazing. And Rick Wakeman talking about the genius of Bowie, and saying how the songs were composed, kind of like how we were chatting about a little bit ago. Rick says, as soon as I started to feel like I got the hang of something, Bowie would throw a wrench into it and go, okay, now we're doing this. And Rick would go, okay, now I got to learn this all over again, because that was just so unreal. That idea of his, the ideas of his would just come out of left field, and Rick would have to adapt to them. I mean, listen to the first 20 seconds of the song Changes is a good example of that. And Life on Mars, obviously, with the odd, transcending chords and things like that, ascending chords, I should say, leading up into the chorus, and it totally changes key signature by the time the chorus initially hits. And it's just one of those moody, sort of dark, but light and beautiful songs. Sailors fighting in the dance hall. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Number 3 is Life on Mars. Number 2 is a song that I am surprised no one mentioned, actually. But this is a really nice deep cut from Aladdin Sane. And this could be number 1, honestly, but I put it number 2 here. Is Lady Grinning Soul. I just think that song it is so majestic. It is so mysterious. That's the kind of feel that I get when I listen to it myself. It has that sort of, it's this sort of, I don't know. I just can't really describe it. It has this feeling of like this sort of haunting beauty. Not in a way that I've mentioned with previous other tracks, like she'll come, she'll go. It's the key signature that it's in that really does it and gives it that feel. Yeah. But it's like you're walking into a room with a witch or something like that. Like you're walking down into a basement and there's candles everywhere. That's kind of what it's like.
It reminds me of like a black and white 1920s style movie or something.
Oh, I can see that too. I can see that too. And that's one of those things where it takes, like, these songs take on different, like, we're very imaginative people, especially the 3 of us here. And so, like, I can listen to songs and I'm like, this reminds me of being on a beach with wind blowing through my hair, and that's what it feels like. And so, yeah, I totally get why you feel that way about this song. And yeah, for me, it's always like that song is like a dark candlelit room, but in a beautiful, hauntingly beautiful sense. If that makes any sense at all.
I think that's why he chose to end the album with it, because it had that, because it's the last song, right?
Yeah.
Track
10.
It had that kind of haunting sound to it. It was a good way to to close out the album on that note, I think.
I totally agree. And that's why it is number 2. Number 1 is a song that you guys mentioned, Station to Station, 10-minute epic. It takes you around the world and back in 10 minutes. It's like Prince would say, around the world in a day, right? And 10 minutes, and you go through all of these different adventures and different mountains and peaks and valleys and things. And it's Prague. There's no way around it. It's Prague. It's Prague. And so I think I've horned up enough time on my list here. So yeah, that's where we ended it. Number 1 is Station to Station. It's not the side effects of the cocaine. Not to rip off your bit there, Lauren, but
yeah, it's my bit.
It worked with the song, man.
Mm.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonder when. Amazing. Does anyone have any finishing comments that they want to make about Sir David Bowie himself?
Just like when you were talking about what Rick Wakeman said, he also said that the biggest lesson he ever learned about songwriting came from David Bowie. He said that Bowie taught him that when you're writing a song, get it to sound good on piano or acoustic guitar, just as it is, bare bones, the song, the verses, the chorus, the top line melody. If it sounds good, then you can start embellishing it with other instruments, with overdubs, with guitar solos, with whatever your strings, whatever you're adding. Then it'll sound good. But if a song doesn't sound good yet, just as it is on acoustic guitar or piano, it's not going to sound good when you embellish it either. And Wakeman said that was the biggest lesson he ever learned from any other musician. So
that's a good point. That's a good point, because you can take all of Bowie's songs and strip it down just to guitars.
Good.
And they still sound good.
You could just sit down at a piano and play Life on Mars, or have someone that could do it, play Life on Mars at a piano, and it'll sound great, even without the strings and without whatever else,
Yeah, I totally agree. And I said on my radio show on Deep Nuggets the other night, I played the Robert Fripp Exposure solo album version of Peter Gabriel's Here Comes the Flood. And I said, you could take this song and add it with the utmost bombast that you can possibly find, like is on the Car album.
Yeah.
Or you can totally strip it down to where it's nothing but Peter and the piano himself, and it is still an excellent piece of music. That is a good song
Which he did later on as well. He had a greatest hits album called Shaking the Tree.
Yep. Yeah.
And
he did a redo of it then.
He did just a piano version of it, and it's great.
That's possibly my favorite version of it, is the one that's on Shaking the Tree, but there's the one on Robert Fripp on the Fripp album, then there's the one on of course Robert Fripp, who was best friends with David Bowie, right? So that totally ties in with the conversation.
Yeah.
And then there's the one on Car, which is like the utmost Bob Ezrin, bombast that you can add, but it all works. There's nothing that's out of place, and so it's kind of like what Rick Wakeman just said. You can take a great song, as long as it sounds good with just you and an acoustic guitar, you and a piano. You can add all the embellishments that you want to it, or you can totally strip it back. And if it is still good when it is stripped back, then you're on to something there.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are all onto something here by watching us geniuses here on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. That's right. As geniuses, I use that term loosely in the case of my own self, but these guys are pretty freaking awesome. We got Tara from Spin in Prague. If you somehow are unaware of Spin in Prague, I definitely recommend you go check them out. They're one of my favorite YouTube channels, bar none. I love you guys. You and your dad are just killer. And Lauren Murphy, my faithful co-host of usually, I think you're here pretty much every Saturday, my friend. He's got a show over on Deep Nuggets Radio every Saturday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. And he's got the Garden of Delights over on Deep Nuggets Radio. That's www.deepnuggets.com. Go check him out, because he plays killer music. Obviously, he does. He features here with us every week. Obviously, he's got good taste in music, right? And my own show on Deep Nuggets Radio every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also on Prague Radio every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. And you know what? That reminds me of something. Tara's got some news. Tara's got something that she should be sharing here.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm one of you guys now. I'm a radio host.
Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
our show is starting this Wednesday coming now, the 22nd of May on Prague Radio. What time?
12.
12 your time, so 5 my time, yeah.
Yeah. So that's 12
I love
Eastern.
how you know all the information, and I'm just like,
Well, we're big supporters of you. Obviously, we're good friends, and I'm really happy to see I'm happy to see everyone succeed. That's what it's all about, man. A rising tide, not to take Scott Lade's quote, but a rising tide lifts all boats. Full credit to Scott Lade from the Prague Corner for that one. And so definitely tune into Prague Radio for Tara's show starting on the 22nd of May. That's 9 a.m. if you're on the Pacific, and that's 12 p.m. if you're on the Eastern, if you're on the East Coast, like Lauren and I. And yes, you guys, thank you so much for watching. And I actually have a new video coming out tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow just before the afternoon. It comes out 11:15 a.m. tomorrow, which is Sunday. That'll be May 19th. 1974, a landmark year in Prague rock. I don't think anyone else is going to deny that. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see you next Saturday. Of course, I'm coming back with Martin Popoff and other co-hosts. So we're going to talk about our top 10 Queen songs. So stay tuned for that. You know what it is. Like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. We love you. And thank you to Lauren and Tara and Matt for being on the show today. Much love to all of you guys. And peace out. Rock on. How do we end this? Yeah, rock on. That's what we always do.